Joining me right now is California Congressman, ranking member of House Intel Committee. He is House Ways and Means Committee member as well, Devin Nunes. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Maria. Good morning.
First, let's talk about this, your reaction to what your colleagues on the left are doing to William Barr. A lot of attacks coming his way.
Well, when the Attorney General comes to testify March 31st right here in the nation's capital, it probably won't go very well for the Democrats. Attorney General Barr seems to always have full handle of all the facts. And in this case, this is another example of it. The clearly 7 to 9 years is totally asinine. You also have overnight reports of the lead juror in that case being a partisan Democrat who had run for Congress, who had made multiple social media posts about the Mueller investigation itself. So this is clearly somebody that was on the jury that never should have been there. We need to get to the bottom of whether or not Stone's attorneys had actually brought this to the judge's attention or not. But there's a lot more to be learned there. But the bottom line is that it won't go well here for the Democrats in the House with Attorney General Barr, because he is a man of action and has had a great long career and has been trying to clean up the mess that the dirty cops made in conjunction with the Democrats.
That's right.
It's only what happens in a second and third world country, and Attorney General Barr is the man that's trying to come in and clean it up. Well,
you're right. I mean, you exposed the fraud that had taken place years ago, that in 2016, then candidate Trump was spied on and surveilled, and they used the tools that we use against terrorists on Donald Trump. They kept the spying going while he was in office. You said last night on Hannity that there will be more information to learn of the Mueller misconduct. What did you mean?
Well, if you recall, several times on your Sunday show, I have brought up that I've termed the Mueller report the Mueller dossier. The reason I picked that is because it looked very similar to the Steele dossier. It was very salacious in many parts. So at the end of the day, they didn't have any evidence of collusion with Russians. But for a layman, just reading that, if you don't have a law degree, you read that and you think, wow, there's just a lot of contacts with Russians here. But the reality is that they forgot the major part, which was it was Hillary Clinton who hired, her campaign hired hitmen to go hire foreigners. They dug up foreign dirt in places like Ukraine that ended up being just total disinformation. Part of the reason why they reopened the investigation on Paul Manafort. And just to top this all off, we now know, we have very good information that in January from the Horowitz report, okay? And I know there's a lot of reports here, so I want to make sure that your viewers are following them all. But in January of 17, right when President Trump is sworn into office, the Department of Justice already knows there's no evidence of colluding with Russians. Just a month after that, in February, by the end of February, in the House Intelligence Committee, the Republicans, we had all the information from all 17 of our intelligence agencies, zero evidence of Trump colluding with Russians, February of 17. So then Trump fires Comey because Comey comes before the House of Representatives and says, oh, they're looking at the Trump campaign colluding with Russians. Well, they already knew the Steele dossier was bogus. They knew they didn't have one shred of evidence that there was any collusion with Russians. So then it fires Comey, and then McCabe and the rest of the dirty cops, what do? And Rosenstein now, I mean, that's in question. They open up an investigation into what appears to be just an obstruction of justice trap. And then, so by the time they get to Roger Stone and they're interviewing Roger Stone, you have to ask yourself, what on earth were they interviewing him for? They already knew there was no evidence of this.
Right.
And then, and lo and behold, the thing that they get him for is lying to the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee, who were clearly on a witch hunt, clearly lying to the American people. And then the guy in the Senate Intelligence Committee, the security director there, is sleeping with a reporter, leaks likely the FISA to that reporter. It's made public, and then that guy then lies to the FBI, and you know what he got? 2 months. 2 months.
Unbelievable.
So I think, I mean, look, we want people to not lie to Congress, okay? And they should be punished, but 7 to 9 years seems totally nuts.
And they did that to Michael Flynn as well. Let's not forget. Jim Comey joked about it when he was on stage talking about it, saying, well, if it was a more organized administration, we might not have gotten away with it. But we basically said to Michael Flynn, oh, yeah, I'm just going to send a couple of FBI guys over there to have a chat with you. Don't worry about having a lawyer there. And again, a trap so that he would say something, and he did, and now he's being punished for it. Look, we spoke earlier about the letter that you sent to Inspector General Michael Atkinson's. You're requesting answers about the whistleblower complaint that launched the impeachment case against President Trump. You gave him a deadline until tomorrow. Have you heard from him?
We haven't heard from him. I will give him credit. The last 2 times we've sent him a letter, he did respond. So we're expecting for him to respond. Now, the problem is the last 2 times he's responded, it's been inadequate. So what we're actually asking him for is, look, we want evidence. It's not okay to just say, hey, trust me, really, you didn't have to have firsthand information. The form, that was just a mistake. It just got changed later. Look, there's evidence, and IGs are very good at tracking down emails. We need the documents of how the form was changed, who changed the form. It's very easy for the Inspector General to prove his innocence. But after everything that's transpired here, the last thing we're going to do is just take someone's word for it.
All of this bad behavior in an effort to take down President Trump, it's just incredible. Now, House Republicans boycotted a public hearing yesterday after accusing Chairman Adam Schiff of ignoring the FISA abuse detailed in the IG report. Till this day, your colleagues on the left refuse to acknowledge or discuss the wrongdoing that took place by the likes of John Brennan, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Bruce Orr, Andrew McCabe, Jim Comey. Why not? Are we ever going to see accountability here?
Well, look, they've been lying to the American people. The key that you're forgetting here is that the media has been in on this the entire time. So the media knew that they had the Steele dossier. They actually had versions of the Steele dossier before there was a Steele dossier. It's what I know Lee Smith was on your show this week. Lee Smith is the one that discovered that and wrote about it in his book. So there's an ongoing track record here of the Democrats lying to the American people, but being in cahoots with the legacy media who are just covering up for the Democrats. So it's more complicated than just Democrats. It's the Democrats, it's the media, which are essentially prostituting themselves to the Democratic Party, and then you had corruption within the FBI and Department of Justice.
And you got
Attorney General Barr is trying to clean
You
up.
got slammed by the media by coming out with the Nunes memo, which laid it all out, all the fraud that had taken place. And then Adam Schiff, he saw the same information you saw, yet he came out with a memo after your memo saying, no, Nunes's memo is wrong. You have pinpointed the media before, and you're suing a number of media. McClatchy is the 3rd largest newspaper publisher in the country. It filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy as it seeks support from key stakeholders for a reorganization plan. Congressman, tell me where your suit stands on McClatchy, and you're also suing CNN.
Well, the irony is that yesterday, after many stall tactics, these media companies refuse to come to the table with me and answer my complaints. So yesterday, a state court in Virginia ruled that we could move forward with discovery, and then lo and behold, McClatchy files bankruptcy. So we're going to have to figure out where we go from there with this. But look, McClatchy is one of the legacy media companies. They're clearly totally unhinged. I don't know who's running the company, but at some point, I think that the investors will be able to probably sue the board members for just total mismanagement. Because at the end of the day, what you're going to find is that McClatchy was probably the #1 newspaper outlet in the country, taking information from who? Fusion GPS. Who's Fusion GPS? Wow. They're the organization that the Clinton campaign was paying, and they were just taking stuff, regurgitating it. Okay, and that's not. You don't have to trust me. Fusion GPS actually writes about it in their book that they just wrote about. Now, Fusion GPS, we know they often lie too, so we don't know if what they're saying in the book is true.
Wow.
But clearly you have McClatchy and Fusion GPS that need to be brought into court in discovery. But however, they're doing everything they can but come join me in court. And I'm the one that's been smeared. Well,
Congressman, let's not forget, and we got to go here because I only have a couple of seconds left, but let's not forget that John Brennan was all over MSNBC during the 3 years that America was in hysterics remarks over collusion with the president, he kept saying that there's collusion in plain sight, just like Adam Schiff was.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, where Brennan's problem is going to be is why did they come up with the intelligence community assessment that they came up with? That's going to be his problem.
Congressman, thank you.